Uh-huh. Can you feel it? Yeah. Let's go. Time to get it started. This is our mode. Turn the level way up till it's high volts. We gon' light 'em up, let the world take note. When the game face on, it is game over. You will witness the force to be action. Grind is the question. We'll be the passion. The reach, 'cause the movement's electric. This is our house and it's proof of a legend. Yeah. They come and rush, tell them let's rock. Spinning like a big ball to your best shot. Ain't no ritual that can't be won. We can rock it with it. They champion. Come on. It's time to bring the fun. Crowd shake. Come on. Yeah. Straight jams. Turn on. The crowd shake.
What's going on, everybody? It's been a pretty busy day in Birdland, I would say. It's been pretty fun, to be completely honest with you guys. I don't know if anybody caught the Craig Albernaz introduction conference today or whatnot, but man, I feel like just ready to rock and roll with this season after watching that. Just the self-confidence that this guy has. And, just kind of like seeing how he interacted with his family and was like, day one, wasn't afraid to crack a joke to Mike Elias and David Rubenstein sitting right next to him. Like, just completely being himself. Like, it was ridiculously refreshing just to see a personality sitting up there. Like, Mike's kind of a dull guy. He's probably pretty cool in person. I don't know. But, in his interviews and stuff like that, he's usually pretty dull. And, David's a pretty outgoing guy. He likes to talk different, like politics and stuff like that and do different things in the world. But talking baseball-wise, it kind of he's real lax with what he says. So it was nice to see a good personality up there, somebody who you can just tell loves baseball. And he's just, I guarantee you, if somebody was in town right now, he'd probably be out there hitting on ground balls. Like, this guy just loves and breathes baseball, and I'm kind of excited about it. And it's just refreshing. And I loved one of the questions today. I don't know if some of you guys had saw this conference or not. Somebody had asked a hard question today is, about the roster and stuff like that. And coaches typically don't have too much input on who they want to sign and stuff like that. If they're asked, they'll give it, So he deflected it and it's like, hey, this is Mike's job. Mike does a really good job at it. And I'm going to leave all that for him. And he kind of like looked at him, like waiting for Mike to like say something. You could tell he's like kind of like egging him on. He's like, yeah, right, Mike? And then he's like, please? Like just little stuff like that. It was nice. It was very nice. And I don't know if some of you guys had saw like, the videos that they were posting prior to the conference, the whole family had on orange, black, and white Jordans. Like even his wife had it on, the little 2-year-old girl had it. His 2 boys had it. Like, it was a cool family affair. The little girl jumped up in the press conference. I mean, she stole the show. I mean, anybody who watched is going to tell you the same thing. She stole the show. So what I'm getting out of this is Craig Albernaz is a personality. And you can already tell from the things that we heard from this guy and from people around Cleveland and whatnot was just how he interacted with people and how everybody was kind of drawn to him and how he's really going to connect with younger players. And I think immediately in an introductory press conference, you saw it. You saw how it's going to happen. Just his vibe, and his personality and the thing he said was like, how he said he asked his wife, like, how do I change? Like, how do I not be me now that I'm a manager? And he's like, I still got to be me. Like, and he's a jokester. And what I thought was probably the most impressive thing, in my humble opinion here, Stephen Vogt was in the front row today of his press conference, the manager of the Guardians. So the guy that he worked next to for the last 2 seasons flew down to Baltimore and was sitting in the front row to watch his guy get introduced into the Orioles family, basically. If that doesn't speak volumes to you of what kind of character this guy has and what he does to kind of everybody around him, I don't know what does. So to me, I thought that was probably one of the coolest things that I've ever seen, ever in my life. Not often as when you leave a team is somebody, now granted, yeah, they were best friends, but still the fact that he came down here for this and the Guardians allowed it, it's really neat to me. And, I've got some of the stuff here. So, this is Craig kind of getting his jersey and whatnot. You can just see the smile on his face. This guy, he's ready. He's absolutely ready. The infectious personality that we're going to get out of him this year. And look, his post-game interviews and stuff, I think they're going to be electric. I think you're going to get exactly what you want to hear as a fan. You're going to hear the truth. If somebody's struggling, you're going to hear why. If they're working on something, I feel like you're going to hear, hey, we're working on this right now. Stick with us, right? I don't think you're going to get the chat GPT, read this real quick so we beat around the bush responses every night anymore. So, what I really like about this is his personality, I think, is going to force Mike Elias and possibly even David Rubenstein to answer some of the harder questions, because I feel like he's not going to hold back. Right? They might tell him, hey, don't talk about this right now. He going to do it. It's going to slip up. And I like that. And I mean, some of these other things that we watched here today, like I was talking about, the fact that he was just not afraid to be a dad in public was awesome to me. Little girl stole the show. If you guys didn't watch it, I highly suggest you go back and watch it. I mean, I think she came in around like the 10, maybe 15-minute mark. But it was awesome. It was awesome to see. She was the cutest little thing. David Rubenstein brought her up. She's sitting there talking through the whole thing, and she's asking for her little Oreo. They gave her a little Oreos like plush pillow thing. She's like, "Can I have my Oreo? My Oreo?" So it's just the whole family vibe that I got from these guys was just really cool. And it's definitely something different. Now we know Brandon Hyde was a family guy. He has but his kids were older, He just didn't have that vibe and that personality to him. And Brandon's a pretty cool guy. Don't get me wrong. I played for Brandon. Brandon's a pretty cool dude. He'll crack some jokes. He'll have a good time. And guys generally really like Brandon Hyde. I'm not discrediting him at all. But it's just, you could just feel it different. Just through a press conference of a glimpse of what we're going to get this year. And what I really like so far, is the fact that they're allowing him to bring in some of his own guys. So far, Sherman Johnson, Orioles assistant hitting coach, joining the White Sox, right? A lot of people complain that we had 3 hitting coaches this year. What are they doing? What is this? So Sherman Johnson was like the head coordinator of upper level minor league hitting, and then he helped out with the Orioles too. So he's moving on to the White Sox, which, hey, great, opens up a spot, right? Well, we also have Cody Ashe going over to the Detroit Tigers. And then it also says Anthony Sanders. So it's another first base spot open here. And then, last but not least, Tommy Joseph. A lot of people really scrutinized when they brought in Tommy Joseph. What is he going to do? Like, he came from a Seattle team that struggled to hit. How's he going to help the Orioles? And it was a thing that fans said all year long. And look, rightfully so. The offense didn't perform this year, so everything was kind of warranted. And we're not saying that any of these 3 guys are bad coaches. I think what the primary thing that helped fail this season was the hitting philosophy. And we're going to get to a point where I think Mike has taken a step back. And I think maybe on his own or not, I don't know. But I think he's identified that what they were doing didn't work. And I think you see that by it was said a lot around the community this offseason and as the season ended, where certain coaches were puppets, so to say, yes men. I'm trying to think of some of the words that people used, and nothing was going to change. Like, this is still Mike Elias' way. It doesn't matter who they bring in; they're going to do things a certain way. I really feel like that has changed. Now, and I say that because Albernaz is not a typical Mike Elias hire. And I say it started to change after they fired Brandon Hyde. John Mabry was not something Mike Elias would have done. That's thrown in the towel and be like, I might have screwed up here. Let me bring in some veteran here. That wasn't normal Mike Elias. Is that coming from the up top? Or is that Mike saying, you know what, we tried this as a team, as a family, it failed. let's do it all different now. We don't know the answer to that question. I don't know the answer to that question, but the answers that we are getting here, I think we need to start kind of paying attention to and being excited about. John Mabry was that first start. Craig Albernaz is that next start. Craig's going to change the culture here, I think, immensely. And now I think he gets full control. As you can see, the 3 hitting coaches are gone. The first base coach is gone. The bench coach is gone. There is no bullpen coach. So Craig basically gets to bring in everybody that he wants. Now, we haven't heard anything on Buck Britton, and I don't think we do. I think Buck stays for the mere fact that, you know, those two don't know each other or whatnot, but Buck's pretty established in this organization as among the players, among the front office, the fans, obviously. I think it's a guy that they don't mind keeping here. And plus everybody, you know, he did a good job. He did a great job at third base. Did a great job. Now, if he's, you know, if they upgrade third base or so to say or whatever, I think there's still a role in this team for Buck Britton somewhere. And I don't think anybody's going to question that at all. I'm excited to see who they're going to bring in for of these various positions, right? You've got a catcher's coach position open. First base coach is open. Bullpen coach is open. And then how many hitting coaches they want. I don't know what they're going to do. Most teams will have more than one. And I know a lot of people just want to have one voice. Most teams will have more than one. You know, basically there's going to be a head honcho. They split out basically who works with who, all following the same philosophy. And they do that because just one guy can't oversee 13, 14 guys. They just can't do it. It's very hard. One guy will be maybe more proficient in breaking down film, and the other guy will be more proficient in like, here's what you're doing from the film, here's how we fix it. So it is good to have more than one set of eyes on these things. And if it happens to be 3, you know what? There's 13 guys there. It's not very easy to throw BP every single day. So don't panic if they hire 3 guys, right? It's not mean that 3 different guys are teaching them 3 different things, right? There's a philosophy at the top, and they're all following the same thing. You just need guys to throw batting practice. So don't be too alarmed with that they do that. I think they're going to take some pretty big swings here with the entire coaching staff. What I say is the bench coach, I think, is going to be a fairly big name. You're going to hear some names here over the next week or so that you're going to be like, who the hell is that? How is he going to help the Orioles? You'll probably look up their stats and be like, they're not very good. Like, how are they going to help? It's hard to explain how people can be a good coach while not being a good player. And you, like I said, you're going to hear these names. You're going to scoff at it just a little bit at first, but understand what they've done and where they came from, and then make that decision rather than just like looking at their stats. Because those kind of things happen. It's not often that you get guys that are pretty good players that become pretty good managers. It's just not that often. Stephen Vogt is, I wouldn't say he was a superstar by any means, but he was an above average major league player. He just has that personality to him. And I think that's what we're getting out of Craig. So be prepared for that. I think that's going to come pretty quickly here. We want the Orioles to get everything established before these GM meetings, hopefully, which I think believes is next week. And that just kind of lays the foundation of everything and allows you to kind of go into these meetings, talk about trades, kind of see where the guys are going and whatnot. You know, rather than trying to spend time during these meetings, like maybe talking to agents about like who I'm going to hire and stuff, you can focus yourself once you have this staff already in place on a lot of other things, which is great, especially with the winter meetings coming up in December too. But I feel like there's definitely a change of guard happening. And I hope more people are paying attention to it. It's very easy to say, oh, it's still Mike Elias. They're not going to spend money. They're not going to do this. There's a lot of little things that have been happening since the firing of Brandon Hyde that are kind of leading up to this, to show you that changing of the guard is happening. Again, don't know if it's just Mike making these decisions or if this is being pushed down to him. But either way, there are things showing us that this is moving in the right direction. And it's time that people probably should start getting pretty excited about this. I think this is going to be a very aggressive offseason. My expectations are through the roof. I'm going to be completely honest with you guys. I expect them. They have about $159 million payroll last year. Me personally, no information or nothing like that, just personal opinion. I think that the payroll is going to get to about 210 to about 215, which is aggressive. Is it top 10? Maybe, probably not. I'm not 100% sure. I think they were at 15 last year. So 215 might put you in the top 10, I think, which from one year to the next, I think is aggressive, as long as it's for the right guys. So there's that. Lots of quality ball players out there. Some guys got opted out today. Some guys didn't get their options picked up, which was shocking, like Magna. I just butchered that. I apologize. But either way, there's a crop of free agents now that probably weren't supposed to be there. And my question, and I tweeted it the other day, is Mike Elias finally going to sign a guy with a qualifying offer attached to him, losing a first-round pick? Because I can promise you, Brandon Woodruff is going to get a qualifying offer, $22 million. I believe he's going to turn that down. I don't think the Brewers want to pay $22 million for him. He's a guy that's probably worth $27 to $30 a year per year, where I think he's going to have a qualifying offer attached to him, a first-round pick to the Brewers. Is Mike Elias finally, and this would be the telling tale here, if he goes and signs a guy with a qualifying offer, I think everything has changed. Everything has changed, and you should be fully expected for this organization to really go for it. You go in and get Brandon Woodruff, give up first-round pick, give him a 1-year, $30 million deal, 2 years, $60. I don't care. I seen it projecting he's around, I think, 3 for $67. Look, if you want to get something done, do 2 for $60. Do it right there. $30 million a year. It sounds like a lot. This guy's established in this league. He's a very, very good arm. I don't think they're going to win the Framber sweepstakes. I would love for them to try and be aggressive and be one down to one of the final 3 teams, but have a couple guys ready to go in that back pocket just in case. Have that 200-some million available, whether that's Brandon Woodruff and Dylan Cease. And the reason why I think it's okay if you don't land Framber, I think Framber's great. He's an ace. I think Kyle Bradish is an ace. And even if Framber came here, I think you could potentially pencil him in as the opening day starter. Kyle Bradish by June is going to reassert himself as the ace, regardless of who you sign. So it's okay if it's not Framber. I want Framber. Priority number 1 for me. Ranger Suarez would be another if he leaves Philly. Philly's not a team that allows good players to leave very often. Houston, on the other hand, seems to just let guys go and still be competitive. So I don't think they care. But there's some really quality arms out there. If Freddie Peralta wants to maybe get traded, they have. If I've been saying it for a couple years, if they can convince Jose Soriano to get traded. So there's options out there, but I still think Kyle Bradish is the guy. You know what I mean? Like, regardless of who you bring in. But let's hypothetical here for a minute. Say you land Dylan Cease, and you give Cease 160-ish over 6 years or something, and then you have like maybe an Maga or Woodruff, if I said her, or Cease or whatever. Bradish, and then we'll say like Woodruff, because I think he's that good, and then Rogers, and then you did like, or like, depending who you got, obviously, Woodruff, Cease, Rogers, Grayson, and I know people are going to say don't rely on Grayson. We're going to rely on Grayson to be a 5 coming out of spring training. If he's not, okay, you still have Dean Kramer, Cade Povich, Albert Suarez, or plenty of others. There's room this year for depth, and you got to find it. I'm anticipating day 1, Grayson Rodriguez penciled at 4 or 5. If you get Grayson as a 5, I'm going to tell you right now, you're looking at one of the best rotations in the American League. One of. Bradish, Woodruff, Cease, Rogers. holy hell, right? Say if you did the opposite. Valdez, Bradish, Rogers, Woodruff, Grayson. We're looking really freaking sharp. So it depends how aggressive they want to be. There is some good players out there. Shane Bieber would be a good 4, right? I think he's going to get a pretty hefty contract. But could you imagine, going with Valdez and then having Rogers and then having Amaga all in the same rotation, where Amaga is like maybe your 3 or 4? You get to juggle Rogers and Amaga at 3 and 4. Wow. Right? The Orioles could do it. Could. I don't know if they're going to. They could. But that's what we're looking at this year. If they want to be aggressive, David Rubenstein said it today. They have his blessing. There's no financial constraints whatsoever. And I might be peaking a little bit, so let me turn the volume down just a touch. So I fully expect them to spend this kind of money. I fully do. I don't know if they'll maybe take a swing at Pete Alonso. Pete's going to get a lot of money, and I think Pete stays in New York. And Cody Bellinger, I think, is a good fit for this team, whether that be at first base or center field. And I think that's a guy that can hold center field down for now until Bradfield is ready. And I fully expect to see Enrique Bradfield in Baltimore August. If he stays healthy. I think the defense is just too good. Too good. And we saw this team, yes, it was a different time where they went through the struggles with Cedric Mullins and allowed him to figure it out up here after sending him down. Different time. Obviously, this team's fighting for a World Series, but that defense is elite. And elite defense can help you carry a team. So I do think that we see Enrique this year at some point. But Cody holds that down for you. And then you can kind of flip-flop Beavers and Cowser every so often based on matchup. I don't even know if Craig does matchups, to be honest with you. I never really looked into what Cleveland does and if that's something he's going to bring here or whatnot. I'm sure they'll ask to do that here and there, but we'll see. But, there's a lot of intriguing players out there for Mike to kind of upgrade this team with. The bullpen's going to be a big one. A great thing of that today was trading Andrew Kittredge at the trade deadline. Got a pretty good 18-year-old Latin player. Pretty good. He was given a lot of money. And turn around, you trade back for him today. I don't know if everybody knows that yet. They reacquired Andrew Kittredge today for cash. So you got rid of him for a pretty good Latin player, and you get him back for cash. Now, granted, they're going to pick up his team option, which is about $9 million. But hey, tip your cap, right? Tip your cap. $9 million for a quality pen arm with a sub-4 ERA. I think it was like don't quote me on it. I think it was like a 3.58 or something like that, maybe. Somewhere around those. But quality pen arm. Can't be the only guy, though. Can't be. I don't want to say you can't. Ideally, you don't want Kittredge to pitch in the 8th unless he's just spelling somebody, right? You want a dominant 8th and 9th guy still. Kittredge in the 7th, I think, is a very good spot for him. Leaves Cano for the 6th, low pressure. Cano seems to do well in low pressure. I would prefer him not to make the team right now. Coming out of spring training, I don't want to rely on him. I'd rather him start the year in Norfolk, figure it out, dominate to where it's like we have no option to bring him up. Like we have to bring him up at this point. There's no options left to keep him there. He's done everything we've asked, and he's dominating. Then I'm okay with Cano coming back up. Don't rely on him to start the season, regardless if his spring is good or not. Just don't do it. Put yourself in a situation where you can really be aggressive with this bullpen this offseason. That's where I want to be at. And I think Craig is going to push for that too. He's coming from Cleveland, the best bullpen in baseball, right? So he's used to being able to get just a couple runs and watching the 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th inning just be completely shut down. So I'm hoping those little talks that they said they're going to have every single day, GM and manager, he's like, I need shut down, whether that be Robert Suarez. I don't really know every single person on the bullpen side. The thing with bullpen, there's a lot of random names every single year. They get a lot of outs, and you never hear about them. You'll hear about the big-time closers and whatnot, but it's the little guys in between, right? Guys that can step up. You got guys that are like Pete Fairbanks that are possibly available, Devin Williams and whatnot. Suarez is probably a big one for a lot of people. Sir Anthony Dominguez is still available. I liked him. Fine. Whatever. I would prefer to probably send the money that they would give him towards somebody else. There's the Tyler Wells thing. Tyler has pitched well in the bullpen before. He's also an option for a sixth man starter if you need to, or Kramer. So they need to give themselves to a point where they're acquiring talent and then trying to find a way to put them on the 40-man and or the 26-man. Listen, I like the Orioles. Don't get me wrong. And I like everybody that's put on a uniform for the Orioles since things started getting good in 2023. I love every single one of these guys. But they haven't done it. They haven't got us to where us as fans want to be. Can you keep relying on them to get over that hump together? Would it be awful? I mean, awesome. Would it be awesome? Yes. I think you need to look them in the eye and be honest and say, I gave you your shot. They had 3 full seasons to do it. Granted, one of them we weren't supposed to do this, but you've had 3 full seasons to win me a playoff game. And you haven't. You just haven't. So I'm going to stack this team and we'll figure the rest out later. You may or may not be here. Right? And that goes for almost everyone. Almost. I love Cowser. Cowser is one of my favorite players. I'm a big personality guy. I love guys with big personalities. But I would be like, hey, if I got a chance to bring in Cody Bellinger, I'm going to do it. This is the separation between Boston and New York. Do they have the money to do this? Yes. But the separation for them, take Bregman, for example. They didn't have room for Alex Bregman. They didn't care. They knew that they were going to find a way, and it was going to be a competition when it got there. Do the same here, because like I said, you gave them a chance. Probably an overextended leash of a chance to do this by themselves. It didn't work out. I'm not saying blow the whole thing up. I'm just saying if you have the ability to pick up Bo Bichette and then you got to move Westberg to first base or something else, Jackson to center field, or something, right? Do it. These guys, you don't owe them anything. You're giving them a paycheck. Westberg's made an all-star team for you. He gets the definite chance to stay in the infield somewhere. Second base, first base, third, whatever. Gunner, sure. Jackson's growing into himself. But if I have a chance to acquire Bo Bichette, a top-of-the-order bat who grinds it out with 2 strikes, hits the ball over the ballpark, gets hits a lot, I'm going to find room somewhere within that lineup and move guys around until it all works. Bregman, too. Alonso, I don't care. These are established players, and if you're at that point now. You're at that point. Last year was a failure, and I think Mike's back is against the wall. Right? He gave these guys their chance to do this stuff. Back's against the wall at this point now. So I think everything's going to be pretty aggressive this year. Everything's going to be pretty aggressive. And I'm excited for it. The thing, look, Mike's job is to bring guys here, and Craig's job is to take whoever he has and get the best out of them. And that's another thing that I want to touch on. I'm a big guy to put Jackson Holiday out in center field. I haven't seen enough to get better in the infield to say, yeah, I want him to stay there. But Tony Mansolino was the infield coach. I like Tony. Don't get me wrong. I like Tony. But our defense has taken a step back almost every single season while he was there as the infield coach, third base coach, interim manager. So who does Craig bring in, right? He preaches fundamentals. Catch the ball, throw the ball. And he says it himself, the little things matter in this game. The little things just lost the World Series. So I'm excited to see what they do with Jackson before fully writing him off, because I think with the right voice in here, his game just flips. And all of a sudden you start to see the guy that we think is really in there. So I'm holding off on that just a little bit. If Jackson stays here, I'm still very, very excited. Still very excited. But, we're doing it. There's a lot of different avenues that the Orioles could take this year. A lot. And I'm excited for it. I hope you guys are too. I hope you are too. I understand if people still want to be just a little negative and they're still a little passive and, they're not buying the hype right now. I fully get it. I really do. I pray, as a fan myself, that everybody's tune changes immediately once free agency starts, because Mike has made that splash, or two or three. Because this team's not just one guy away. It's not. The offense has kind of sputtered for a couple seasons now. And, the pitching, there's a lot to do there. I think the starting rotation is in a decent spot. One guy really helps this rotation. Two guys puts it near the top. Bullpen, like I said, Craig came from a place where that bullpen was shut down. Best closers in baseball, right? Can't ever pitch again because of a gambling incident, and they were still one of the best bullpens in baseball. So it's not like it was maybe just Emmanuel Clase that was just doing all this. No, this was a collective best bullpen in baseball, and this is what he's used to, and I think he's going to demand the same thing. I definitely hope that that's the case. I expect it to be, but you never know. Let's get into reading some of these comments here tonight. So I went and made a new little graphic for you guys. All right. Can't wait to see who Craig will hire for his staff. Piers Elias has given him some latitude in these decisions, even though the word collaborate a few times. Yeah, Mark, I heard some different things today that we haven't heard before, and I really, really liked it. Again, my optimism was skyrocketed today. But I'm a big vibes guy. I liked it all there. Let's see. I think Craig's personality fits this core more than Hyde's did. 1,000%, Adit. 1,000%. It just felt good to hear him talk today, crack jokes, smiling the whole time. And it was great. And we didn't really see Brandon smile a whole lot the last couple seasons. And I don't know if, things internally weren't good or whatnot, but things were definitely a little different. If you learned that the Orioles signed a starting pitcher of some note prior to the winter meetings, who do you think it would be? Who do I think would even sign early? That's a great question. I'm not sure who I know would even sign early. If anything, I would think would be more of a trade, probably. Sonny Gray, Joe Ryan, Jose Soriano, something along that line. Signing early, especially if it's a Boris client, is probably never going to happen. Great question, though. Great question. I don't really have an answer for that. If I had to guess, I'd say if the Orioles signed him, maybe Zach Eflin, because they're not going to give him a qualifying offer, right? He's not worth $22 million. I seen his projection was around 1 for 8. Zach Eflin at $8 million, I think I'd be pretty comfortable with that. $10 million. I like Zach Eflin. A healthy Zach Eflin's pretty good. Kevin as your number 5. I would love that over Dean Kramer, I don't know. I think, we'll go with Zach Eflin. Great question, though. Great question. Chad says exactly what this team needs is a guy with no BS, all business, enough with the yes man mentality. I didn't see a yes man mentality today, right? A yes man wouldn't crack a joke or multiple jokes to his boss, right? And then say, please. Like, a yes man wouldn't bring his kids up to the podium like that. Like, I think Craig's got a lot of control, and Craig's gonna elevate this team, in my opinion. Rubenstein being friendly to the public. We have new ownership. He took a couple shots too, which I thought was pretty funny. I talk every single day. They asked, we haven't talked to you since on such and such time, but I haven't talked to you. I talk every single day. Like, they were throwing some shots. That was pretty good. I found it funny when Jake asked Rubenstein about the fan skepticism about paying players, and Ruby got a little upset. He went on to say he wanted to sign the best players. So this begs the question: do you actually do it? And will we find out in a couple days? Another great comment. He did get a little upset. And I think it's because, look, there's a lot of negativity in the media and around the fan base of what they tried and what they couldn't accomplish. To me, I could be wrong here. To me, I think they did try. And I think his money was out there last year, and I think it just didn't work out. And it made everybody look bad. I completely get it. But I think, they're a little frustrated at this point, and they're ready to roll. They want that stigma out there that they can't sign guys. They want it gone. And I think he's just a little tired of hearing about it, but it was good to see as well. Good to see. I like a little bit of fire out of my owner. Sean says, definitely seems like a philosophy change is coming. It feels that way. I like it. British Raven, welcome in, brother. Thanks for stopping in, man. What's good, nerds? We're just here nerding out about baseball. Do we think they grow the staff considering the Giants had one of the largest coaching staffs ever under Kapler when Craig was there? Was it Kapler or Kepler? I think it was Kapler. I'm confused myself now. I think they do have a fairly big staff, and I think they go big. And when I say I think they go big, I think they go big names at multiple spots that teams are going to want to hire next year for higher positions. I think they want to make this a super staff. And I'm hoping they do. Obviously, you can't get every single person that you want, but you're gonna see some pretty good coaches here named in the next week or so. According to Elias, may see some more coaches hired this week. Mark, I will say from what I've heard on the inside, you are correct. We'll keep it at that. You are correct, though. What's everyone think about the decision to bring back Kittredge? I like Kittredge. I thought he pitched well here. I wish he would have stayed healthy last year, coming in or out of spring training. He's a guy that it helps the bullpen. He has the good vibe to him as well, where he's kind of joking around, but he's also a vet. And he's been around the game for a while and knows how to attack hitters. He's always had a fairly good season every year. So I'm never going to complain with a guy with a mid-3 ERA out of my bullpen, as long as he's not a closer. But he's got closer stuff to fill in for one night, so he'll definitely help. Ranger or Robert Suarez? Why not both? Let's get funky. Let's get funky a little bit. Why not both? If you want to say you have no financial constraints, show me. Because those two right there are going to cost you about $280 million probably. Show me. Right? Those two right there help you become one of the most dominant pitching staffs in the American League. Show me. So let's go with that. Trade for Freddie Peralta. I like Freddie. Again, the time is now. Show me. You know what I mean? Umaga not an ace is intriguing. He is. He's going to be paid like a top guy, like a number one or number two. He's not really a number one. He's probably a back end number two. But if you got him at a number three, wow. He's good. I'm just telling you, there's flexibility out there, and there's some pretty good players out there to make this pitching staff extremely good because of Bradish and Grayson coming back. I'm gonna bang my head on the wall a couple times, but Grayson Rodriguez is going to help this team a lot this year. And if he doesn't, God darn it. That's all I can say about that. Sign Naylor, Woodruff, Robert Suarez, bring back Soto. Which Soto are we talking about here? Levian? Trade Mayo, Kramer, and 2 prospects to Seattle for Gilbert. Done. Best team in the American League right there. I'm going to say it right now. Best team in the American League if you did that. Or something along those lines. You just reinserted yourself back there with Toronto and the Red Sox and the Yankees and some of these other teams. Look, Texas is going to spend a lot of money this offseason. Seattle is going to go out there and acquire hitting, and they've already got the pitching. The Yankees, we already know, is going to spend money. Boston's looking to spend money now that they lost Bregman. They've got a lot of young guys here to make that jump too. They're going to be looking for some pitching. Lucas Giolito is another guy who could help this squad as a 3 or 4, right? If you have the depth for that, he really helps. So a lot of guys out there, a lot of competition to go with. But if you bring in Naylor, Woodruff, Robert Suarez, I don't see why this team's probably not one of the best in the American League, in my opinion. I still would think probably maybe 1 or 2 more bullpen guys, though. What do you think it would take to get Andrew Painter from the Phillies? See, they may be trading him. So, listen, all it takes is for somebody to really, really want somebody else that you have, and everything goes out the window. So I don't really know, but I don't know. I don't want to answer that question and sound dumb, so I'm going to probably not answer that question. I'd have to look at it. Let's say that. Cody Ashley just went to Detroit. Breaking news. Yeah, that happened a little bit earlier this morning, Joe Weave. A little bit earlier, I'd say probably mid-afternoon or so. I've known about that for a couple weeks. I haven't really said anything. So they are looking at some top-tier hitting coaches, some of the guys that are regarded as some of the best in baseball. I will say that. I think we'll be pleasantly excited to see who does get announced here shortly. But there's good things coming our way. Good things coming our way. Harrison Bader opted out of his $10 million contract. Was he with Philly, right? That's odd for, I don't know. I don't think Harrison Bader's worth $10 million. Does he think he's going to top? I don't know. Now, listen, the center field market is extremely thin. Extremely thin. So I guess I can understand why he did it. But is he worth it? Probably not. I don't know. I'd take him for 8-9 million. But 10? I mean, I don't know. We'll have to see. Devin Williams is another guy that can help this ball club. He could definitely help this ball club. Could you imagine if you had like Kittredge, Devin Williams, and then Robert Suarez? Like I'm saying, you want to say you have no financial constraints here. Let's get a little funky. Let's get something like that going. Shut that door. So that'd be fun. Wells, Povich, Suarez to the pen with starting pitching signings. Wells, yes. I think if you bring in more than one starting pitcher, I think Povich probably starts back in AAA or is dangled in a trade somewhere. Suarez too. Suarez would be probably best to take over that role that like Aiken did, where he's like kind of like your long relief, but he could also come in and get outs in the 7th, 8th, or 9th inning, depending on matchup. Suarez is a Swiss Army knife that I really enjoy. I like him a lot. Glad he's still here. Would love to have his brother with him. Gleyber Torres moved Holiday to the outfield. Maybe. Like I said, I'm a Holiday to the outfield kind of guy. Gleyber's getting a touch. I don't know. Gleyber scares me that it was just a one-year wonder. And I hate saying that because some guys just figure it out again for another couple of years, and I don't want to miss out, but I also don't want him to kind of revert back to what he was doing in New York, and then like you just paid all that money, and it's like you're stuck with this guy. So I would hate to be the guy who had to make that decision. That's for dang sure. It's crazy. They need like 9 big leaguers. They definitely need some bullpen. I don't know if they even need 3 starters. I think 2 is probably fine. And then 1 to 2 bats. It just depends how aggressive you want to be. Look, we got some good players here. Jeremiah Jackson definitely deserves some playing time. I would love to secure yourself somebody better than Jeremiah Jackson, but I completely understand if you want to roll with him too. We all forget about Tyler O'Neill, who just opted back in for 2 more years. Like, he's going to have to take some at-bats. I said it the other day. I felt dumb typing it, but I wouldn't be shocked if they cut Tyler O'Neill. Like, I do think he's a good ball player when he's healthy, But if you got to a point where you could upgrade Tyler O'Neill with, say, Cody Bellinger, like, why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you? Like, don't let that hold you back. If you got to eat $40 million to make sure that, look, it's expensive. I know it's not my money, but it just makes your team a better ball club. So hopefully they have that mindset, but I can't speak to it because it's not my money. It's a lot of money. Cowser, Chris Davis 2.0. I don't believe that. Cowser was an elite contact hitter in college. I'm hoping a new hitting philosophy kind of changes him back to how he was. Drive the ball for doubles. Don't look to, try to lift the ball out of the ballpark. Hopefully him and Adley kind of get back to the players that they were when they were dominating, all through college, and they were dominating the minor leagues. Hopefully this little change of guard here, and Craig likes to preach that they want to get the best out of that player, that he doesn't want the whole team doing the same thing. They want to individualize each player and what they're good at, and then focus on those strengths and then give them an opportunity to succeed. Hopefully that allows a guy like Colton Cowser here to really flourish. Hopefully. Bring in Bregman and trade Westy. If I could not trade Westy and bring in Bregman, I would. Because Westy is athletic. He could play first base if he needed to. I guarantee you, if Jordan Westburg had to learn first base, he could do it very quickly. Or if you had to put Bregman at first base, I don't think he could not figure it out, right? He's got good hands. Westy played a little bit of left field in the minors. He's athletic. He's one of the faster guys on the team. That's a guy I would like to keep. Now, if he gets hurt a little bit more again this year, I know there's been some freak injuries, but if he does get hurt again this year, then I'll have that conversation. But for the most part, I'd want to keep Westy because he's starting to hit that age, turning 27, 26, 27, where that's your prime in baseball, where he's starting to figure it all out. And this is where we're really going to start seeing a really good Jordan Westburg. You take Glaber over Jackson? I don't know. Glaber just scares me that he was just a one-year wonder. Maybe. I don't know. Adley bat 280 with 25 home runs. Look, we've seen him hit 20, and we've seen him hit around 280 at times. If Adley can put it all together for 162 and stay healthy, it wouldn't shock me to see him hit over 265. It wouldn't shock me. He's just got to do it at this point. The time is running out. It's running out. It's got to be done here shortly. That's all I can say about him. Heston comes back and bangs 40. Joe, I like the picture that you sent yesterday, and I went back and looked at his wife's Instagram. He does look healthy. Everything to me looks like he's in good shape. So that was good to see. I found it very weird that the Orioles never talked about it at all, other than, I get it if he just didn't want it public, if or something like that. It was just very odd that it was just never spoken about again. But I would love to see him come back and bang on the door and then get just force the Orioles to bring him up or trade him or trade somebody else. Like just get that to that point again, just to know that he's good. Dope graphic. I appreciate that, man. Appreciate that. I spent a little bit of time on that today, throwing this stuff together. Could the Orioles offer 5 years to a starting pitcher? If so, who? I think could offer to plenty of guys. Dylan Cease would be one. Framber would be another. If they would maybe trade for Joe Ryan and extend him, it all depends on who they get, or who fits their need. Is need the right word? Who's going to fit their style? What is their style going to be is the first question, and then who fits it. Which is why I love that Craig is already here, and I love they're already trying to hammer out a staff. Hopefully he gets to talk with Drew French a lot to see what they want to do, what direction they want to go in, and then they know who they want to start to attack. Me, I want some left-handed pitching. Love lefties. Rogers is nice to have. Framber will be great. Would be really great. I like Brandon Woodruff. I don't know if he would get a 5-year deal at this point. So it probably doesn't answer your question, but Amaga, would I give him a 5-year deal at 31, 32? Probably not. Unless you know you were going to get 4 really good years out of him. And if the 5th one was just nah, and you won a championship or 2 in between that 4 years, who cares? Who cares? What I really want is the articles came out about the Dodgers' revenue and how they've made Ohtani's contract that they haven't even spent yet. They made it back in 1 year. $700 million in revenue in 1 year, just U.S. domestic only. Doesn't even count internationally. Sign the big name, and it will come. Extend Gunnar Henderson. Sign Framber Valdez. Make a huge swing for Kyle Schwarber. And then go and sign somebody smaller. Bieber, Woodruff, somebody like that. Go get Robert Suarez. Get yourself a $250, $260 million payroll. Get yourself up there. And watch the revenue start pouring back in. I hope as businessmen, they know this, right? They know how the economy works and how you got to spend money to make money kind of stuff. I'm really hoping we see it this offseason. I really do. Because the Dodgers proved it, man. It can happen. You made $700 million in revenue in 1 freaking year. I'm not saying the Orioles are going to do that. Obviously, different markets. But if you start making $360, $380, $400 million in revenue a season, it replenishes itself. So that's just me. Hopefully they took notes there. Hopefully. What would a package move for Skubal? Skubal's not available, in my opinion. I've had this argument on Instagram a little bit. I really don't think Skubal's available. This is classic Scott Boras implanting fake stuff into the media to get his guy's price just jacked up. There's no way Detroit only offered $80 million. Get out of here with that. That's Scott Boras written all over it. Oh, we're $200 million away from each other. No, you're not. No, you're not. You're probably 50 or 60 away, and you're trying to jump it up to 70 or 80 because it's just what you do. Good for you. Good for you. Good for the player. Shit for the fans and the team. Don't believe that Scott Boras stuff. I don't think Skubal's actually available. Detroit had one of the highest paid payrolls from like 2014 to 2020. They got the money. They make a lot of revenue. They get the fan base there. They have the money to give Skubal $300, $400 million if they want to. Don't believe that stuff. Cade clears Eflin. Maybe someday. Right now, no. Cade struggles to get righties out with a fastball, and that's not going to play as a starter in this league yet. Pitches very well against lefties. A lot of time to learn. But right now, I would take Zach Eflin. A healthy Zach Eflin is a good pitcher in this league. Not great, but good. I would stick with Eflin. I'm just looking forward to getting back into baseball with a group of guys who will contribute to my enjoyment of the game and not detract from it. Were you saying Brandon Hyde detracted from your enjoyment of the game? Is that what I'm hearing? Who does Frederick have as a manager? It's a great question. I don't think they have named that just yet. I would love for them to bring Kyle Moore back. A lot of people don't know him. He was the manager at Bowie for a long time. He was actually my roommate for a while. He was actually a catcher at Alabama. I believe he's in the Cubs system right now. Double A maybe? I'm not really sure. But would love to bring Kyle back. Great baseball mind, great dude. But I don't know. I don't think they haven't announced any of that stuff yet. Who's my minor league breakout player of the year for the Orioles? Aaron Estrada. Easiest answer. Aaron Estrada. If it's not Aaron Estrada, it's Nate George. Obviously, there's two of the easiest picks. They're the second and third highest ranked prospects that we have for the hitter side, behind Samuel Basallo. But Estrada's the guy that I think takes huge leaps this year. And then same with George. Those two guys are going to be a lot of fun to watch. And Estrada being at Bowie, if you're local to Bowie, get out there and watch him. It's different when the ball comes off that kid's bat. It's just different. And then Nate George, obviously, the ball is allowed off his bat. It would be cool to see Slater DeBron this year and see him kind of break out. Austin O'Verne is another one to keep your eye on. There's a lot of good minor league players to keep their eyes on, but those two, Estrada and George, are probably just the easiest, safest picks to pick right now. Do I think Perez is on this team? I hope you're not talking about CNL. Ugh. Don't bring him up. What are my thoughts about a package for Scuba Nova? He won't resign early as a board. I want to stay away from that one, to be completely honest with you. I just don't. We just talked about. I don't think he's available. I really don't. If he was, you're gonna have to give up Jackson Holiday. And if it's not Holiday, it's Basallo. Flat out. Because if he was available, every team in baseball would be coming out with their best. And you can't just skimp around this. Which I don't know if the Orioles want to do. I just don't know if they want to do that. Knowing that he probably wouldn't sign an extension. It's not worth giving up that kind of talent for a guy you just don't know if he's going to re-sign back at a small market. Now, if it was a case of, yes, he's trading here. Yes, we've already agreed to a 7-year extension or whatever, something dumb. Cool, yeah, send whatever you got to send. If it's Holiday, if it's Westberg, Mayo, I don't care. Michael Ferret, Trey Gibson, send it. You know what I mean? If I can get Tariq Skubal here for 4+ years, send what you got to send. But I just don't think he's available. Would you rather the Orioles sign Valdez, but the Orioles sign Valdez, but the best reliever they get is one of the Rogers twins or Robert Suarez and Devin Williams? But that's easy. Easy. Ranger Suarez and Robert Suarez and Devin Williams, that's easy. Ranger's fantastic. Ranger is absolutely fantastic. I would take Ranger in that package in a heartbeat. That package right there would put the Orioles in the top of the AL. Flat out. Bradish, Ranger, Rogers, Grayson, Kramer. Damn good rotation. Again, you could even bring back Zach Eflin over Dean Kramer. You know, a lot of different things you could do. Albernaz is a great communicator, relates to his players, and forever learning. The boys will be fired up. 92 to 95 wins. 1,000%, Chris. I think the bar has to be 92 this year. Has to be. It's going to be tough. Running from the OPS. Yo, what's going on? Thanks for stopping in. Appreciate it. Need a full-time DH. I love when you sing to me, Joseph. I just love it. We say Chris Davis 2.0. Like Chris Davis wasn't a horrible player when he wasn't. 55 home runs, 53, whatever it was. I forget. Chris was great, man. Chris played a good third base for us. He closed some games. He was a funny guy in the media. You know, he hit all those home runs. When guys were up in the 9th inning, Chris Davis was the guy you wanted at the plate. It didn't end out well in his career. I'll give people that. But Chris Davis was great for Baltimore for a long time. Do I put my futures bet on the World Series down right now? Do it. $10. What do you got to lose? I'm sure the odds are going to be like 50 to 1. Could work out for you. What is Trevor Rogers' market? Trevor Rogers could probably fetch something fairly good. I would say fairly good. Probably near what Sonny Gray could fetch right now, just because he's being left-handed, had that type of season. Extend Bradish, 1,000%. Give it to him now. Give him a 3-year deal right now. 3 for $60. Let's get a little funky, right? Coming off an injury. Sure, see if he'll take it. If not, what's Let me see here. 30, 60. We don't want to go 30. So 25, 25. 70. We'll do 3 for 75. 25 a year. I think that's fair. Framer signing might have some. Look, listen. I understand. Who cares? You're trying to win baseball games. There's a difference when you've been with the same org for years and you know these guys and frustrations pile over. It's hard for frustrations on a winning, if you're winning, to come to somewhere new and for those frustrations to boil over that quickly. That wouldn't happen here in year 1 or year 2. That wouldn't happen. I understand it. Not saying you're wrong. Not saying anybody who feels that way is wrong. That wouldn't happen here that quickly. We hear small market. You're only in a small market if you allow yourself to be in a small market. To a point, yes. The problem is we just don't get fans. We don't get enough fans to generate enough money to be considered mid-market. And that's not a shot at anybody, right? We're in the middle of a city that really nobody, I don't want to say nobody works in, but most people don't work in the city that are fans of the Orioles. There's a lot of jobs down there. I'm not saying that people don't work down there, but most of the Orioles fan base works elsewhere, right? Whether that be Fort Meade, some people drive down to Virginia. Some people that work down here live in Pennsylvania. Like, Maryland's just an odd state, and could you get 30,000 fans a night if you were winning a lot? You could win 110 games, and I think you would still be hard pressed on a Monday night to get 30,000 plus, unless you were playing like the Yankees or something. But like, are you going to draw a sellout crowd if you have 110 wins and you're playing the Athletics? Probably not. Whether it's a Saturday or not, if it's not a giveaway, like, you're not selling that out. It's just a rough market, and the only people who are going to make it better are you and I, and people like us and fans. We got to be it's a tough economy out there, but the only way to make more money is for us to spend it. If that makes sense. If not, everything's coming out of the owner's pocket, and then we're just solely relying on them to put out a winning product instead of us forcing their hand. It's hard. It's hard on me. It's probably hard on you, hard on everybody else is listening. It's a tough economy out there, man. It's just where we are. And I don't blame any single person that can't make it there. I just don't. It's tough all around. I think we all do, as a fan base, I think we do a good job of getting there when we can. And if we're not there, we watch on TV. We pay for the plans to watch the game. So we do our best, whether we can make it to the stadium or not, to support the team. And that's all you can ask for. But to make that jump, that stadium has to be 30,000 plus 5 nights. If they were a 7-game homestand, it had to be four nights. Like, it's got to be to that point. And I don't know if we can get there right now in 2025. Not saying we can't, but right now in 2025, it's a struggle to get there. So for now, we'll still be a small market for a good bit. If I had a chance to extend Henderson or Holiday, who would I choose to extend? Don't forget Aloy comes up in 2 years. Henderson, because you can move him around, and you know who he is. He's a great player. Fast, he hustles. Everybody looks up to him. He's got a good personality. We saw it, on display at the Home Run Derby. Everybody just loves the guy. He can move to third. He's big. He's a strong dude. He's a middle of your order bat. Jackson's fine. I think he takes a step up defensively this year with new coaching. I think his hitting gets a little bit better as well. Top of the order guy, a lot of speed. I don't know if he can move to short and third because the arm's not that great. It's not bad. It's not that great to be a big league shortstop. So I would go 1,000% with Gunnar. Aloy can move. Good problem to have though, if all 3 of them pan out. Good problem to have. How much stuff do I know that we don't? I wouldn't say a lot. It's growing, maybe. It's all fairly new to me since the Albernaz signing. I'm not going to talk too much about it, just for the sake of the person that I've recently developed I want to say a relationship with just yet, but a person that I've been talking to. I feel like we're kind of feeling each other out. We're building up our trust with each other. So I wouldn't say that I know a ton. I've just been blessed with a few things that they've told me early. So I'm just trying to keep that peace and keep that relationship going. So, we can learn things and I can spread the game to others. But it's not like I can just pick up the phone and just say, hey, what's going on? And then just like tweet it out. I'm not at that point yet. Do I want to even be at that point? I don't know. I just want to be able to just have good baseball conversations with you guys. Break Trey Mancini as a coach. I think Trey is at a point of his life where he's about to start having like a kid. I don't know if Trey's ready for that. I think Trey needs to enjoy this part of his life for a little bit and then maybe try. But just go enjoy other parts of baseball right now. We used to draw $3 million a year before the Ravens and Nats. I know, but think how long that's been now. I mean, the Ravens have been since '96. That's a long time. Long time. So you're looking at almost 30 years. 30 years next year. So it's hard to get that back. Hard to get that back. I feel like Bellinger is a sneaky option that they could sign, partly because yes, 1,000%. This is what I like about him: first base and outfield. So, but man, a lot going on tonight. I appreciate you. We got 78 comments tonight between three platforms: Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. Appreciate every one of you guys. It was a great conversation. I think we're heading in the right direction. I'm excited about the vibes. I hope you guys are too. God forbid this team doesn't struggle again this year, because I think we would all just lose our mind at this point. You know what I mean? We would collectively lose our mind if this team struggled again this year. We don't want to get to that point. So, but everything seems to be pointing in the right direction this year. I'm excited, and hopefully these things keep building. Hopefully we start to kind of learn like who's going to be the hitting coach, who's going to be the bullpen coach, the catching coach, the first base coach, stuff like that. Each little thing I think gets the fan base a little bit more engaged. The Ravens struggling right now helps. They're not going to stay struggling. I think they're going to play pretty well. But listen, we got 97, 98 days to pitchers and catchers reporting. So I'm excited. We're going to be here a lot this offseason, breaking a lot of different things down. Join me for the journey if you're up for it. Follow that sub button over on the Red app over here. So hopefully, yeah, like British just said, that's the goal. Grow this thing exponentially this year. So that's what I'm going to try to do. We're going to try and start breaking some stuff down, whether that be minor league prospects, free agents. When I have time, I'm going to deliver some content to you guys. But I appreciate you guys stopping in and watching tonight. I truly, truly appreciate it. I don't think you understand. Just put yourself in my shoes, right? I'm just a guy that just enjoys talking baseball, and I look up, I got 82 comments. Like, I'm not a big guy. That's me appreciative of you being here and enjoying talking baseball with me. So I want to keep doing this all year with you guys. College baseball starts in 2 months. That's exciting. That's one thing I would love to start watching more. So we'll see. We will see. But thank you guys. I'm going to hop off here. I don't even know what time it is. 10 o'clock almost. Hopefully you enjoyed the new graphics I did today. It was something I wanted to try something new. So we'll see. We will see. So thank you as always. Again, if you haven't had a chance to go back and watch, the press conference with Craig Albernaz today, please do it. It was fun. And how often have you been able to say something about the Orioles has been fun? Like, especially talking about a coaching staff. Like, go back and watch it, understand it, like see the vibe that he had with his kids, see the vibe that he had with the front office, and even like some of the the sports reporters and what they were asking questions. Like, you could just feel everybody had a sense of relief and a sense of like, okay, like we're not like just uptight a-holes anymore. Like, it's the air was let go a little bit. Go back and watch it. Let me know if you think anything different. Drop it in a comment below. If you're new here, drop a sub, and I will catch you guys later. Peace.